So Southern Cross University has recently uh, implemented a block model, an immersive block model, a curriculum innovation that's completely transformed the learning experience and learning outcomes of our students. Now, why did we do that? We did that because we had an issue, protracted issue over many years. We're a regional institution. We're not based in a metro location. And many of the students who come to us, they're not coming straight from school. So about 70% of our students are part-time, about 70% of our students are female students, about 60% are the first in their family or first generation or to study at university. And many of them, around 60%, are 25 years or older. So we've got a very different profile as a university. Now, those students who are older and coming perhaps not straight from school bring different experiences with them, and there's a lot of strength in that. But they also bring with them other commitments, often to their families or to the workplace. And we noticed over many years that our students struggled to succeed in their studies and struggled to complete their studies. And in fact, when we compared our success and retention rates with our cousin universities and metro destinations, we noticed that our students performed fairly poorly. So we had an attrition rate of about 33%. Of the students who commenced in 1 year, 1 in 3 of them did not return for their second year of study. So that means we weren't delivering the experience that we wanted for our students. They weren't succeeding. We weren't helping our community the way we had hoped. And we've reflected deeply on that. As part of that reflection, we came up with many ideas and we chipped away with a number of support projects, extracurricular support over many years. And those projects, they delivered some improved outcomes, but they didn't significantly shift the dial. So after years of trying, in 2019, we decided we were going to do something radical, something wholly transformational. And that was to reinvent our curriculum, our way of teaching, our way of designing and delivering learning experiences, a way of assessing students for all of our courses, undergraduate and postgraduate. And that's what set us off on our journey of transformation for our students. So we went about this transformation, which was a whole of institution transformation, everything from policy settings for things like how we design and develop our teaching, the timelines on which we assess the students, the volume of assessment that we expect our students to undertake, to our practices. So academics, when they go into the classroom, no more are they delivering lectures while students sit passively and listen at 9 o'clock in the morning to a professor talk for 90 minutes about their area of expertise. We have interactive, engaging workshops and tutorials. We have shorter teaching periods. So our teaching periods are 6 weeks long, and students can take a maximum of 2 units at a time or 2 subjects. Some block models you'll see they're 4 weeks and the students study one at a time, but we have 2 units at a time over 6 weeks. So students can have a part-time option of 1 unit over 6 weeks. So what did that transformation deliver for our students? Moving away from lectures, reforming the way we assess, reforming the way we teach and design learning experiences. I'm very glad to be able to report there was some fabulous uplift in student outcomes. So when we commenced in 2019, prior to the pandemic, where we had lectures, we had exams, we had 4 units or 4 subjects at a time over 15-week semesters, our success rates were about 70%. This year, I'm very happy to say we've seen those success rates increase by 17%. We're sitting at about 87% success rates. Now, those success rates, that 17% uplift, that is indeed above the average for all regional universities in Australia. So we've lifted our game in the outcomes for students above and beyond what regional universities typically achieve in this country, and indeed what our metro cousins are performing at. So that's fabulous. Can you imagine the same lecturers, the same students, but better outcomes for students? The other metric I mentioned earlier was attrition, or conversely, retention. In 2019, 1 in 3 students left our institution after commencing in the first year. That has now dropped from 33% to 25%. So we are seeing more students stay on, feel confident, feel they can succeed, and go on to achieve in their second and third years of study. And about that, we're very glad. From our experience, I would share that it's a long journey. It's not something you can do quickly. It requires planning and investment. It requires buy-in from the leadership, but also from colleagues across the institution. Academics, like people everywhere, are a creature of habit. They're also very dedicated. Academics get to the roles they're in through working very hard and being very committed to their jobs and their discipline area. And telling them that you're going to require them to completely change their practice is a big deal. We formed communities of practice to share the model we'd landed on across the institution, gave people the opportunity to provide feedback and input to how we should move forward. We had to change policy across the institution. There are so many areas where at the beginning we didn't know we'd have to consider everything from special cons, what happens when a student is unwell on a shorter time frame, you've got less time to extend into for them to provide, give them the opportunity to undertake their assessment. I think it's really important to agree on metrics if you're going to go down this route. Academics are very interested in the evidence base for what you're doing, and they want to see the impact. So agree upon what you're going to measure, what will success look like. We developed a series of dashboards that looked at student success, student feedback, student attrition, early withdrawal, feedback on teaching, feedback on units, and we monitored those dynamically, and we made that information available widely across the institution. So people were very clear whether the project of work to change what we were doing was working. So we listened very closely to student feedback, and I'd encourage anyone thinking about doing this to do that. It's not a simple project of flipping the institution into a new mode of delivery. It's a journey of ongoing continuous improvement.